Hi, my name is Connie Gross, and I'm an infant and early childhood mental health consultant for the Children's Resource Center in Bowling Green, Ohio. Today, we're just going to do a quick strategy video about some quick tips for separation anxiety. If this is something that your child struggles with or a child that you care for does, there is a longer, more in-depth video on our YouTube channel, the Children's Resource Center, which gives lots and lots of strategies about how to help manage that and reduce that child's fears. Today, we're just going to look at some really quick tips. So saying goodbye is difficult for lots of us, and especially for preschoolers, because saying goodbye means a change, right? It's a change maybe in caregiver or location, or oftentimes both. And even though they might know and love that caregiver, saying goodbye to your loved one is difficult. So we're just going to look at some quick tips for the one who has to say goodbye, and then also the caregiver who's taking over and how they can help comfort that child. Tips for saying goodbye is that we really want to have a ritual, and a ritual means that we do it the same way every time. This helps provide a sense of safety because it's predictable. And so, like you see on the image here, there's kind of a saying that they're doing, going back and forth. So he says, "Hit the road, funny toad," and she says, "I'm out of here, darling dear." So a predictable, they do that every day the same way. Maybe it would be 3 kisses on the cheek, or hand squeezes, or I mean, you guys, each family will find what works best for them. But having a ritualistic way of doing that will help to comfort your child and make that transition easier. The second strategy is to try to make it short and sweet. Saying goodbye is hard. It's hard to leave your child when they're upset or crying. But if you're in the end going to have to leave because you have to go to work or you have to go do the next thing, stretching that out and making that go on for an extended period of time will not make it better. The goodbye has to happen. And so start with that ritual, say your goodbyes, and then hopefully you trust that caregiver to be able to comfort your child and help them move on to the next thing. So trying to make it short and sweet. We also really wouldn't want to get in the habit of sometimes maybe saying goodbye 2 or 3 times. And that does sometimes happen at like drop off, where a parent will say goodbye, but their child's upset. And so then they go into the classroom with them and talk to them for a few minutes and say goodbye in there. And then the child walks them to the door and they're still upset. And so they're saying goodbye again. And that really just kind of stretches out that discomfort for your child. So one goodbye, short and sweet. And then the third thing is talking about a plan, letting them know who's going to be picking them up, and maybe if you do have any plans for that evening. So just future thinking, talking, helping your child think about how this is uncomfortable in this moment, but I'm going to see you again tonight, and we have swimming lessons, and we're going to have spaghetti for dinner, or whatever the plan is, as much as you know. Just sharing something with them so they can be thinking about the future positive things. For the caregiver who's caring for a child who's struggling with saying goodbye, here's a few tips for them. First of all, caregivers should go to that child and acknowledge the feelings of distress. So letting them know that you see them and you see that maybe they're upset or they're sad or disappointed. Second of all, give them the opportunity to talk about it. Ask them if they want to share how they're feeling or why they're feeling sad today. And if not, that's okay too. I would not push them to talk about it, but just letting them know that you're here. And if they want to talk about that, they can. The third thing is offer a hug or to rub their back. You know, some children don't like to be touched when they're upset, and that's totally fine. But for lots of children, that can be comforting. And so just offering those options to them and letting them decide if that's something that would help them. And then the last thing here is remind them that their loved one will be back. You know, it's hard to say goodbye, and it's good to acknowledge that and say something like, "I know it's hard to say goodbye to mommy, but she's going to work or school or whatever the case might be, and she's coming back after we have snack and outside time." So kind of just reminding them that this is, again, it's sad to say goodbye, but we will see them again soon, and we're going to do lots of fun things today. Sometimes it can also help to try to get them involved in something. And so you can see how that works for the child. Each child's different. Some of them need some time by themselves to get calm or not engaged in activity. And some children do well with maybe being distracted by some type of activity. So knowing the child and what their needs are can really help in this situation too. We have tons and tons of resources for caregivers on our YouTube channel, so check us out there, the Children's Resource Center. We also have a Facebook page. We share resources for caregivers every single day. And if you want to know more about separation anxiety or just other preschool challenging behaviors, check out this book, Behavioral Challenges in Early Childhood Settings by Connie Jo Smith. Thanks so much for watching.